involved in looting a shopping mall where they stole mobile phones during protest of transport workers and businesses in Balachu. Good evening, I'm Sarah Chitrakar and these are the headlines of the hour. Members of the House of Representatives criticized the government, allege of failure in ensuring peace and security to the public, demand proper investigation into Gongabu incident. Construction of an embankment more than 5 meters wide beside the bridge that joins Nepal and India in Khalanga, Darchula raises concern for the course of water flowing towards Nepal. An aid convoy reaches earthquake-hit northwestern Syria from eastern Deir al-Zor in a rare example of assistance, making it across the front line of the country's 11-year-long civil war. And Scotland win the ICC World Cricket League 2 with 3 matches to spare. Thrash Namibia by a record margin of 10 wickets. The parliamentarians have demanded the government to investigate the vandalizing of a mall in the capital's Gongabu, among other incidents, on Monday this week. The parliamentarians demanded investigation of Monday's incidents during the meeting of the House of Representatives held earlier today. They have also demanded actions against the guilty party as well. Meanwhile, member of the House of Representatives, Chitra Bahadur Kesi, said that powerful countries have directly interfered with Nepal's internal political affairs. Likewise, parliamentarian Prem Suwal expressed discontent regarding the government's decision to declare a public holiday on People's War Day, even though the Constitution of Nepal does not recognize the term. Meanwhile, lawmaker Ganga Chaudhary demanded publishing the report of Lal Commission during the meeting earlier today. The Indian side is constructing an embankment of more than 5 meters in width beside the bridge that joins Nepal and India in Darchula's headquarter, Khalanga. The Nepali side has raised concern to the construction of the embankment, saying that it has raised the possibility of directing the course of the river towards Nepal. The Mahakali River Control Project has stated that the embankment is being constructed against the norms and criteria and has raised questions unofficially and in written form. The embankment has been built 8 meters from the abutment from the bridge on the Indian side. Mahakali River Control Project Chief Manohar Kumar Shah has informed that as the abutment of the bridge is the border security structure, the construction of the embankment will completely cover the abutment. According to Shah, the embankment's curved shape towards upstream has raised the possibility of the flow of the river being directed towards Nepal. The project has prepared a written report mentioning that the counterfort retaining wall by the Indian side towards upstream and downstream will decrease the width of the flow of the water in the river. The flow of water will be directed towards Nepal and will raise risks. Shah said that a report has been prepared after multiple on-site studies. It has been informed that the report, including the condition of the structure, possible risks and ways to resolve the problem, has been sent to the District Administration Office and Department. During the joint on-site tour between the officials of the two countries last Thursday, Mahakali River Control Project Chief Shah raised concern to the Indian side that the embankment was being constructed against technical criteria. CPN Unified Socialist Chairperson Madhav Kumar Nepal has said that the designation of President must not be given to CPN-UML. Addressing a press meet held in Pokhara today, Unified Socialist Chairperson Nepal claimed that giving the position of President to CPN-UML would lead to another disaster in the country. At a time when CPN-UML has the positions of the Speaker of the House of Representatives and Chairperson of the National Assembly, Nepal is of the understanding that giving presidential position also to UML would lead to absence of political balance in the country. Unified Socialist Chair Nepal also termed the current ruling coalition of a mixture of polarized entities. 17 people have been injured after a passenger bus traveling from Jomsom to Jomsom of Mustang to Pokhara plunged into the Kaligandaki River. According to police, the bus with registration number Na7K7440 plunged into the Kaligandaki River in Thasang Rural Municipality, Ward number 3 of Mustang. 5 of those seriously injured have been referred to Pokhara for additional treatment, while others are being treated at the Lete Primary Health Center in Baki. Blacktopping works of the 16-kilometer road section Sindua of Thankuta to Okre in Chathar rural municipality of Terathum have begun. Blacktopping works of the road section has begun with financial support from the government of Province 1. Swachanda Oasis Bandhan Bhagwati JV Construction Service had reached a contract agreement of 820 million rupees for upgrading and blacktopping of the road 3 years ago. According to engineer Minraj Tamang, the 16-kilometer road section will be blacktopped within the next 2 months. Reconstruction works of the cold storage facility, which had remained stranded for the past 11 years in Tansin Municipality, Ward Number 7, Bagkhor, have begun. An agreement for the construction of the cold store facility was reached 10 years ago with the aid from Tansin Municipality and the Indian Embassy for the benefit of the farmers of Palpa and neighboring districts. However, the works had remained stranded after the municipality had not released funds for completed works and had fined the construction entity. According to the municipality, construction works of the cold store facility have been expedited after the representatives of the Government of India took stock of the site. The municipality has invested 5,547,000 rupees in the cold store facility. A new contract agreement of 49,991,000 rupees has been reached with the objective of completing the facility within 2 years. A 5-day agriculture fair with the theme Market-Oriented Agriculture Foundation for Prosperous Nepal is underway in Butwal. FNCCI, Butwal and the Ministry of Agriculture and Land Management of Lumbini Province have organized the fair with the objective of commercializing agriculture and easing the use of technology. A total of 50 stalls are at display in the 5-day fair, including those of agro-technology and agricultural producers. Machineries, including those that are used in plantation and harvesting of paddy, are at display in the fair. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question. What do you think of the government decision to ease driving license test? Your options are A. Ease license distribution, B. Prevention of illegal license distribution, and C. Risk of increased accidents. Voting is on. Tap NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for international update. An aid convoy has reached earthquake-hit northwestern Syria from the eastern Deir al-Zor province, a rare example of assistance making it across a front line of the country's 11-year-long civil war since the disaster struck more than a week ago. Organized by Arab tribes, trucks loaded with blankets, food, medical supplies and tents arrived overnight in the insurgent-held rebel northwest from a region controlled by the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces. More aid was being collected, said Hamoud Saleh al-Darja, an organizer. He said the aid would be distributed in the north without discrimination. Many of the Syrians displaced from Deir al-Zor to the northwest during Syria's civil war are members of Arab tribes which wield significant influence. A convoy sent to the rebel-held northwest by the Kurdish-led authorities in the east and northwest was turned back last week. Sources on both sides blamed each other for the failed attempt. More than 4,400 people have been reported killed and 8,600 injured by the earthquake in northwest Syria, according to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA. The death toll reported in Syrian government-held parts of the country stands at 1,414. A second earthquake in as many days hit southwestern Romania on Tuesday. An earthquake of magnitude 5.7 struck near the town of Târgu Jiu early Tuesday afternoon, the European Mediterranean Seismological Center EMSC said. The quake was at a depth of 14 meters and the epicenter was 56 kilometers northeast of Dorobeta Turnu Severin. It follows a slightly smaller quake on Monday in the same area. Romania's Department of Emergencies DSU cautioned people against panic, with DSU Chief Ray Arfat saying during an earthquake, panic can be fatal. The tremors come on the heels of a major earthquake in Turkey and Syria last week, which has killed at least 41,000 people as of February 15. China said it will take countermeasures against U.S. entities that undermine Chinese sovereignty, its foreign ministry said at a press conference on Wednesday. China Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin made the announcement at the start of a regular press briefing after the United States shot down a Chinese balloon and said it would sanction 6 companies linked to China's surveillance balloon program. The entities, including the government-owned China Electronics Technology Group Corporation, 48th Research Institute, as well as Beijing Nanjiang Aerospace Technology, a unit of Shanghai-listed developer Deluxe Family. Russia's defense ministry said on Wednesday that its strategic bombers carried out a routine flight over neutral waters in the Chukchi and Okhotsk area close to its far east. Multiple Russian military aircraft, including fighter jets and strategic bombers, were intercepted by North American air defense forces as they flew over international airspace near Alaska, U.S. military said. The aircraft, which were identified on February 13, did not enter United States or Canadian airspace and did not pose a threat, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, said in a statement dated 14th February. It added that the Russian flights were in no way related to the mysterious spate of airborne objects shot down by the U.S. military over North America in the past few weeks. While NORAD said it sometimes escorts aircraft out of the space near Alaska if needed, it did not say whether this was the case this time. Russia did not say whether its aircraft had been intercepted, but said on Wednesday that it had carried out multiple flights over international waters in recent days, including a Bering Sea between Alaska and Russia. It said 2 of its Tu-95MC strategic missile carriers had flown over the Bering Sea accompanied by Su-30 jets. North American security forces have been on high alert in recent weeks after a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon crossed into U.S. airspace, prompting the United States to shoot it and other objects down as it combs the sky. Against the desert sands of Sharjah, 8 green circles stand out as the United Arab Emirates cultivates wheat to improve food security in an arid country that imports some 90% of its food. The government launched the 400-hectare farm in Melia in 2022 using desalinated water for irrigation as the disruption of water and pandemic heightened concern over the UAE's lack of arable land. The UAE, a federation of 7 emirates, imported 1.7 million metric tons of wheat in 2022, with Sharjah accounting for 330,000 tons, government figures show. The Melia farm's contribution is expected to be some 1,600 tons per year, a step forward the Gulf oil producers' greater ambitions to increase farming. Officials say the energy cost of producing the 18,000 cubic meters of desalinated water needed per day for irrigation will be proportionately less as the project scales up. Eventually, the UAE, which will host the COP28 climate conference this year, has plans of food production that recycles water and minimizes waste. The plan for the Melia farm, which is free of pesticides, chemicals, and genetically modified seeds, is to expand it to 1,400 hectares by 2025 and eventually to 1,900 hectares. The farm uses artificial intelligence and thermal imaging to gather weather and soil data to regulate irrigation rates and monitor growth. The project includes experimental fields of 35 different types of wheat from around the world spread across 2 hectares to explore compatibility with Emirati soil and weather. Germany's defense minister said he was in favor of raising NATO's military spending target as allies gathered in Brussels on Wednesday for talks on whether defense expenditures of 2% of GDP are sufficient with the war raging in Ukraine. At their Wales summit in 2014, NATO leaders agreed to move towards spending at least 2% of their gross domestic product, GDP, on defense within a decade. NATO's decision was a reaction to what it perceived as a severely deteriorated security situation in Europe months after Russia's annexation of the Ukrainian peninsula Crimea. Almost 10 years after the Wales pledge and 1 year into Russia's invasion of Ukraine, NATO defense ministers will launch a discussion at their meeting in Brussels on how to adapt the spending target. A decision is expected at the NATO summit in Lithuania in July. Luxembourg's defense minister Francois Bosch, however, called for flexibility in the implementation of the principle. Meanwhile, Finland's defense minister Mikko Savola said it would be better for all NATO countries if Sweden and Finland joined the alliance together, not one after the other. Finland and Sweden's application for NATO membership needs to be ratified by all current NATO members, but so far Turkey and Hungary have not done so. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan last month signaled that Ankara may agree to Finland joining NATO ahead of Sweden amid growing tensions with Stockholm. We all need to become more skeptical about anything we read online, according to cybersecurity consultants with Secure, who say all chatbots like ChatGPT could hugely increase our risk of being scammed. The company says easy access to ChatGPT and other similar large language models can make creating abusive or harmful text or emails much easier than it has been in the past. Their experiments focused on using AI to create malicious text like trolling tweets, fake news, phishing attacks, and social validation for scams like the Tide Pod Challenge. The Tide Pod Challenge was a viral event on YouTube several years ago that dared children to eat candy-like detergent containers despite a real risk of death. The company said AI-generated text, both benign and malign, will soon become so common that simply identifying that AI wrote it will not help us identify criminal, malicious, or abusive content. Instead, we are all going to have to get better at fact-checking and verifying what we're reading, they said. Time now for Sports Update.
Sports News. Read.
Scotland have won the ICC World Cricket League 2 with 3 matches to spare. In the match played today, Scotland thrashed Namibia with a record 10-wicket win. In the match played at the 3-1 University Cricket Grounds in Kantipur, Namibia were put to bat where they were bowled out for just 153 runs in 39.2 overs. Opener Lohandre Lawrence top scored for Namibia with 54 runs. Bernard Skolj scored 30, while Zane Green added 25 and Piquia France made 11. None of the other batters scored in double digits. Michael Lex picked was the pick of the Scottish bowlers with 4 wickets, while Safyan Sharif and Mark Watt shared 3 wickets each. In reply, Scotland chased the target in 22.1 overs without losing a single wicket. Openers Kyle Coetzer and George Munsey put up an impressive batting display for the Scottish side. Coetzer remained unbeaten at 46 alongside George Munsey, who scored 103 runs from 61 deliveries. His innings included 12 fours and 7 sixes. With the win, Scotland have 48 points from 33 matches, where they won 23 of them. Second placed Oman have 44 points from 36 matches, while Namibia are third with 37 points from 32 matches. Scotland therefore have won the tournament with 3 matches to spare. Meanwhile, it is the largest margin win in terms of wickets for Scotland in one-day internationals. Prior to this, they had registered an 8-wicket win. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.